Hello, this is Matt,
And this is Seth.
and with a lot of talk recently and some debate in Congress as well regarding our Second Amendment and their attempt to yet again diminish the Second Amendment. We wanted to take a few minutes and go into the United States Constitution first and see if we can figure out exactly what Congress's power actually is, whether or not they actually have authority over our Second Amendment and, well, for that matter, any of our rights. So we're going to go ahead. We are in ballotpedia.org, and we're going to go ahead and go into our Bill of Rights. And Seth's going to do the reading for us here today. And we'll start right here with what the Bill of Rights are.
The Bill of Rights of the United States Constitution includes the first 10 amendments, which set aside a list of rights which the federal government cannot infringe upon.
Okay. Now, in Article 1, Section 8, it lays out the exact powers that were delegated to the United States Congress. And it's going to take a moment, but we're going to read through, Seth's going to read through all of these. We're going to find out if there's anything in here regarding our Second Amendment, or again, anything in our declared rights in our Bill of Rights. Go ahead, Seth.
The Congress shall have power to lay and collect taxes, duties, imposts, and excises, to pay the debts and provide for the common defense and general welfare of the United States, but all duties, imposts, and excises shall be uniform throughout the United States. To borrow money on the credit of the United States. To regulate commerce with foreign nations and among the several states and with the Indian tribes. To establish a uniform rule of naturalization and uniform laws on the subject of bankruptcies throughout the United States. To coin money, regulate the value thereof, and a foreign coin, and fix the standard of weights and measures. To provide for the punishment of counterfeiting the securities and current coin of the United States. To establish post offices and post roads. To promote the progress of science and useful arts by securing for limited times to authors and inventors the exclusive right to their respective writings and discoveries. To constitute tribunals inferior to the Supreme Court. To define and punish piracies and felonies committed on the high seas and offenses against the law of nations. To declare war, grant letters of marque and reprisal, and make rules concerning captures on land and water. To raise and support armies, but no appropriation of money to that use shall be for a longer term than 2 years. To provide and maintain a navy. To make rules for the government and regulation of the land and naval forces. To provide for calling forth the militia to execute the laws of the Union. Suppress insurrections and repel invasions. To provide for organizing, arming, and disciplining the militia, and for governing such part of them as may be employed in the service of the United States, reserving to the states respectively the appointment of the officers and the authority of training the militia according to the discipline prescribed by Congress. To exercise exclusive legislation in all cases whatsoever over such district not exceeding 10 miles square, as may by session of particular states and the acceptance of Congress become the seat of the government of the United States, and to exercise like authority over all places purchased by the consent of the legislature of the state in which the same shall be, for the erection of forts, magazines, arsenals, dockyards, and other needful buildings, and to make all laws which shall be necessary and proper for carrying into execution the foregoing powers, and all other powers vested by this Constitution in the government of the United States, or in any department or officer thereof.
Okay. Well, I didn't hear you read anything regarding our Second Amendment or the first or any of the others. And again, the Congress shall have power to are the first words there. So this is the power that was delegated to the US Congress when the US government was formed. So really looking at whether or not a government, one of the branches of government has the authority to do something is really quite simple. The constitutions are relatively easy to read. It's all plain English with an occasional word that we may not be familiar with. Dictionary comes in handy, but for the most part, you can find usually pretty quickly if something is actually within their authority or not. Now, certainly, government has a tendency to, I guess, take on authority that does not belong to them. Yeah, but what we're discussing here today is whether or not they actually have that granted authority. And it's clear from Article 1, Section 8 that they do not. So real quick before we wrap up this video, I do know that in the 10th Amendment of the US Constitution, that it tells us
The powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, nor prohibited by it to the states, are reserved to the states respectively or to the people.
so if the US government doesn't have authority, or the US Congress doesn't have authority over legislation regarding any of our amendments, any of the Bill of Rights, perhaps the states do. Amendment 10 says that, again, the powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution are reserved back to the states. So next time we're going to go ahead and go into one of the state constitutions, and we're going to see what we can find there, whether or not maybe they have authority over whether it's the right to keep and bear arms or any of our rights. So, okay, for now, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.